Hey there, Dream Tracers. This is Hannah Pryde, and welcome to Pryde and Shine, the podcast where we explore the innovators and influencers of Dubai. Proudly sponsored by Pryde Migration, your dedicated partner to make Dubai your reality. Welcome to the show, Gino.
Thank you very much.
So Gino is the co-founder of Strada and actually my boss. So I had to interview him as the first real estate owner in Dubai.
Thank you very much. You're making me blush.
One of the person I learned everything from. Legit everything. I
Yeah?
remember I came to you and I didn't know a bloody thing.
You know what I'm thinking, didn't you? I remember when you
I knew
cried.
nothing. Had a meltdown, cried.
It's all right. I was like, I don't know what to do. Please just stop crying. I'll help you. Don't worry. I will help you. Good times.
You've seen it all. You have
I know,
seen it
right?
all.
What's happening? How are you?
Bloody great. I spent the whole day with you.
What are we going to talk about?
So we are going to break down how you got into Dubai, how your journey started. So you came over here in 2018. What
Yes.
brought you to Dubai?
I was born in Oman, in Muscat. So I lived there for a couple of years, obviously as a kid. Went back to the UK, to London, and always thought about coming back to the Middle East. Obviously, I didn't really remember a lot of it. One of my best friends moved out to Dubai. I used to come out and see him. And at the time, I was telling someone a story the other day. At the time, I'd go to his apartment, and he lived in like the 40th floor. So it was in line, or 50th floor, whatever it was. It was in line with the clouds when he woke up. He had like every single pair of Louboutin trainers, everything. And at that point, I was like, oh my God, he's made it. He was in finance. He was doing really well, making a lot of money. We were actually supposed to come out together, and I bottled it and he didn't. And so, yeah, I'd come and see him, and I saw the success. I saw what he was doing. I was working in London in tech at the time. And I said to my now wife, we've got to do it. We've got to go over there. Like, I have to be over there. She didn't want to come. She actually cried. She'll hate me saying this. We were
Sorry, Ellie.
Yeah, sorry, El. We were so skinned that when we got over, we didn't fly over Emirates. I can't remember. I'm not going to name it.
It's probably like
I'm not gonna, yeah, it was all over. It was like a world trip. And when we landed in Terminal 1, and she got into the Costa and just burst into tears. And I was like, we're not even at the airport yet. Why are you crying? What's wrong? I hate it. It's not for me. So yeah, that was why we came. Real estate was not something I wanted to do at all, though.
Really?
Yeah,
Did you think you were going to go into finance?
I wanted to go into. So I was in finance, then went into tech. I wanted to stay in tech. I love tech. I don't love it anymore, as you know. No attention span. But I wanted to stay in tech, into like an account management sort of sales role. Interviewed with like 20 people, and I was always in sales, and I was always like top in the country, the company, in the world. One of the companies, a global company, and so I thought it'd be easy. I'd get a job. I interviewed with loads of people, and just couldn't get a job for love nor money.
Was Dubai really different back in 2018 when it comes to the job market now?
Yeah.
Do you think it's kind of changing back to that? Because obviously when I came over and I went home, got a job pretty easily. Everyone done that, but do you not feel like people are struggling now to get jobs? I know even at Strada you're not hiring as easy as it used to be. It's quite rigorous now. I
think Strada's an anomaly. It's a little bit different, but in terms of like the proper jobs, when you get paid salary, I always call them proper jobs. I insult everyone in real estate, including myself. But yeah, like it was really, really hard. They were really picky, and I'd sit with everyone and they say, you haven't got any UAE experience, so I'm like, how am I going to get a job? How am I going to get any experience if you're not willing to take me on? So we lived in shared accommodation. I actually rented the room to Che. That's how I know
Really?
Che. Yeah. So
I didn't know that. That's something interesting.
We were in the marina in the Point. There was a load of people in it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and the fella cut the living room. I was showing a picture to the others the other day. Cut the living room in half. So someone lived in the living room. We had a living room about the size of this table. You had our room, then mate, you had the apartment. It was awful. And
do you know what though? I say it to everyone. Most people have had that.
Yeah.
Like most people have lived in the shit. And I say that's the funniest thing coming to Dubai. And I tell every single client that I speak to, if they're setting up a business, leave your ego at the door. Because I don't care if you're living in a £2 million house in the UK and you're living the life, you're going to come to Dubai and it's going to be
You're going to be humbled.
You're going to be in a fucking townhouse.
Yeah. You're going to be humbled massively. Well, I was fucking humbled, all right?
Everyone's been humbled.
A lot. And yeah, it was awful. So we had to get out, and I put a Facebook ad out, and Che came and knocked at the door, or met Che or whatever, and ended up he had took the room off me. And he was like, I'm going into real estate. And I remember thinking, you're mental, mate. Real estate, commission only, like you're mad. So I wanted to stay away from real estate. Moved in with Elle's friends. There was loads of them. It was a little bit like the series Friends. It was shitloads of people living together. And all of them had been in real estate. I didn't really like it. I hadn't done what they wanted to do in it, and it moved on. So I had this really bad stigma of real estate.
Do you know what I find funny? The fact that you worked for Demar for a year, but you're one of the top brokers, Emar, in Dubai.
Yeah, I've sold like 3 things in Demar in my life.
Genuinely, but you actually had a full-time job with them.
I know, and I was the only British person that was like a celebrity. I'd go outside the back and have a cigarette and get fucking swarmed by everyone. Go away, just say something. Hello, go away. Yeah, it was really, but it was very regimented. Like I was used to being in a role in London. I could go and take clients out, do things. I had a company card, do whatever. And then coming to Demar where you had to literally punch in at 10 and leave and punch out at 7. And if you went out to lunch, someone would ask you where you were. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, it's not for you.
No, I mean, it's for some people, but it wasn't for me. Then ended up, the guy I was working for moved and went in as CEO of Inspire. So I went and worked for him as a broker.
And how did you find your first? Obviously, Demar is a bit, as you said, it's a little bit different to the real estate game that we know, like very regimented. How did you go into Inspire? How did you find that journey?
There was no structure, right? I went in, so this guy I worked for... You're
riddled with ADHD.
I'm
You're running in circles.
And you're completely normal, yeah.
We're both like...
Yeah, I did wonder how this was going to go. I'd be bouncing around conversations. I went in, there was one leopard print wall and one tiger print wall. There was a receptionist, there was loads of cabins, and there was no one there. You could smoke in the office. I used to smoke back then. I walk in and I was like... Are you sure this is like, do I have to have an interview? No, you're all right. You just join. So I sat in one of the cabins, smoked like 20 cigarettes a day and just used to call on like 2005 data.
It's crazy though, because imagine back in the UK, so that would have been 2019. Imagine back in the UK being like, yeah, I'm just lighting a cigarette. I mean, you don't see it as much now in Dubai.
No.
They are trying to get rid of it completely.
What I will say is I learned, so it was very different to like, say someone coming into Strada now. I look at people coming in, if they don't have it, very rarely we do take on people with no experience. When they do have no experience, I'm like, it's structured. You know what you're coming into, you're going to make money, you can't not make money. Whereas what I went into, was a little bit different. And
what did you learn from that? Obviously, you were fully given free rein. You were like, do what you want.
Yeah, literally.
And how are you going to make it? What did you learn from that period?
I learned how to nurture the relationship with a client. I had no other choice. There wasn't any incoming leads. There was no property finder. Honestly, I've still got the data at home. I'll keep it forever. It's an email spreadsheet and it had Emirates Hills, Springs, Lakes, Meadows and a few other things on it. And I just tick off. It's got all my notes on it and everything. And you're just hammering through, building a pitch, and you get told, fuck off, and I'm going to block you, call the police, do whatever. And I had no idea what I was calling. What I couldn't understand, where I'd been in sort of B2B sales, there was a need for my service, right? So you run a podcast, I sell speakers or whatever, and there's a need for me to call you. What I couldn't understand is, how do I know if you want a property or not? Like I don't. Like I can't just walk around the street and find you. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I could never get my head around. And I rang one guy who I still talk to today, who said, if you can get me a Blue Waters with a 5-year post-handover payment plan, 1090, I'll buy it off you. And I was like, oh, all right, fine, done. I hadn't no fucking clue what Blue Waters was. Yeah, I've got it, yeah. I've got loads of them, what do you want? And then I remember ringing the owner of the company, like, I've got this guy, he wants to buy something. Right, get his passport. Hi, how are you? Can I have your passport, please? It was probably the worst call ever. Back and forth, and eventually booked the unit, 3.6 million.
It's unreal. And what was the commission on that?
5%.
So I bet you got hungry for it after that.
Well, yeah, it sort of levelled me out because I had to pay everyone back as well. So whatever money I got, I was like, right, at least I'm square now. But I think the biggest thing in anything is actually seeing it, right? Like I'm seeing so many people do it, thinking, how the are these people selling? How? And then you start to doubt yourself, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been there.
I didn't cry, yeah. Right? But
cry baby.
Yeah. Please stop. So once you've done one, then you're like, okay, so it's doable, right? Now I understand. And I always say like confidence and conviction, right? If you're talking with confidence and conviction, you're so much more powerful. So once you understand you can do it, you know the process, then you're good to go.
I think you have to have a taste for it because it's all well and good seeing people around you doing numbers. And how long did it take you to do your first deal in Dubai?
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
So same as me actually. Remember?
Yeah.
The first one didn't really count, but the one after that, 6 months when it was starting from scratch. But like, I feel like the people, and I've spoken to with other agents, people that take 6 months to close a deal or a little bit longer, maybe a little bit less, they have more of a hunger for it because it's like they reached rock bottom. Like you were like,
I was not going home. Like, I would have run through a wall. Like, I said to my wife would say to me every week, like, do you think we should go home? No, I'm not leaving. I'm not going home. Like, I'm not doing it. You go home, you do what you want. I'm not going home. I'm staying here. She paid the rent. She did everything. Bless her. Yeah, so, and I think, yeah, you're right. I agree with you.
I do, honestly, because I think, see, the people that maybe get a little bit easier, do a big deal, they kind of get complacent about it. Whereas even, and you'll be the same, you hit numbers, Gino, and we're like, how have you done it? But you still have the hunger to be like, nah, next one. Whereas I think sometimes people that hit it, and they're like, yeah, I've got money, spend it, a few months off, get a deal, a few months off.
That's the worst thing that can happen, right? You see people come in and do a deal in their first month, and they're like, this is easy. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, but it is when you know what you're doing, but you don't know what you're doing yet, and you've just nicked a deal. So, yeah, it's
crazy that. And then how did you work your way up? So if you went in as an associate, how did you then work your way up to become the managing partner,
so
director?
I was a broker. I was a broker for a year or two. And then started to sort of build a team. So the guy that was CEO left and went and did something else. The owner, which I learned, who's a very good friend of mine now, I learned so much off. He's a proper investor. Ruthless investor, really, really good investor. Great broker as well. So I sort of started to go into like a sales manager role, built a little team, but still not a great amount of resources, just doing whatever I thought was right. But I was billing. As a broker, I became naturally quite good at it. I got offered a role for another company as a director to then really with proper back-in and everything else. So I said, right, I'm going to go there. And the guy was like, don't do it. Why don't you come with me, buy in half the firm, properly come in and get stuck in, and we'll grow it together. And we got to top 5 or top 4 with Emar. Yeah. That was my goal, to get into the top 10.
It's amazing. But then what do you think your why was? Why did you choose Emar? What made you want to like chase that part of it?
So he had a relationship. So the guy that I owned it with had a relationship with Demar. He was always top 10 with Demar. And it was at the point where Emar started to change their payment terms. So they give like 25, 75, 5-year post and things like that.
God, the good old days.
I couldn't give it away. I know. I had all these Sidra, Forte, Pill Primo, and no one wanted it.
And now it's
I'm like, I'll buy it all. Come on, give it back. It was mental. But yeah, so they had all these payment terms. They were paying higher fees, and it was Emar, right? Yeah. My thing was, it was easier to sell something. You stand and go, look at that giant tower over there. They built that. So it's credible. So yeah, that's what we started doing. And my philosophy on it was, Emar was the biggest. Well, he's the biggest. So if you could become top 10 with them, everyone else would want to deal with you, which is what happened.
And then when you hit that's, I guess, a goal mile, if you reached your goal, what made you then leave that company and then move over to Strada?
So we built the company to about 45, 50 brokers, took a second office. So grew it quite quickly, but what we didn't do, and what we did with Strada, we didn't really build a brand. So there wasn't the culture that we have now. You know, people would turn in whenever they want. Yeah. They were making money, but they were nowhere near making the money people are making now. And it's off-plan's very, very different, right? So we started to veer into buying and selling as well. So again, I'd never bought properties before. I remember being at a launch and he was like, I'll buy 5. Like, 5? We can't afford 5? No, we can, don't worry. So I learned so much from him and seeing what he saw and how to identify what a deal is and things like that.
And do you not find it interesting when you surround yourself with people like that they give you the taste for risk? They
my God,
give
amazing.
Because I think that's the thing. The best thing I've probably learned from you at Strada is the exposure of being like, no, this is how you work a payment plan and this is how you do X, Y, Z. Whereas before, I've probably been around people that have had that concise investment, being like, oh, we need to afford it over the next 4 years. There's no like risk to it, but you've obviously learned that from someone and being around the right people.
That was him, and so we start. Yeah, exactly that. And I think I was always brought up to be like, I don't know, you earn £1,000 a month, you save 200 of it, it goes into some little account, and then basically when you're about to die, you get access to that account and you can't do anything with the money.
Sick.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks very much. But it was all safe, you know. And the ultimate is to buy a home and whatever, and then that's like the dream complete. So when I met this other guy, and I started to understand, and I remember thinking, oh, that's £1 million. That's £2 million for him. But he's playing with so much money that I started to learn. I learned everything from him. The exposure to risk, what a good deal was, what a bad deal was, how to identify that, how to, to build a strategy around it. But I wanted to build the brokerage and he wanted to carry on investing. So we ended up leaving it on good terms. I said to him, right, this isn't for me because we're running in 2 different directions. So give me this number, I'll sell my shares back to you, and away we go. And we did, and we agreed it.
And that's the biggest thing you've probably learned, is always leaving things on good terms, because especially in Dubai with how small it is, I think some people forget if you burn bridges in Dubai, it can in the long run.
Always.
Whereas over here, you should just, whether you're an agent leaving a company or if you're moving to any job role, you should always leave it on good terms, because your reputation over here is massive, probably
especially
bigger
in what we do, right?
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, exactly. And your biggest thing is your referrals and people that you know, your reputation, like you said, your social media presence. And if people think you're a shafter or a bullshitter, they're not going to deal with you. They're not going to refer you. So yeah, I completely agree. I don't see the point, like, unless you've done something really bad to me or my family, I'm not... It is what it is, right?
Spade's a spade.
Yeah, so I imagine one day we'll be able to use each other. So what's the point? I don't need to have a row with you. And we left on really nice terms.
And then you moved over to Strada, and then it all went TikTok famous, build a brand, let's see Gino Cross.
Yeah, this is it, yeah. Well, yeah, I was on the point. I've been like to Elle, like, I'm done. Like, that's it. I'm going to go play golf every day. At the time, I thought I'd made a few quid, and I've made it in life. And she was like, you're definitely not staying here every day. Yeah? You'll drive me insane. You'll become a complete nuisance. And I ended up having a chat with Che. I knew the boys. I'd done deals with them before. I always used to refer anything in Dubai Hills over to them. And I had a chat with them and was like, right, let's get in. Yeah.
And tell me, so obviously people, and it's interesting, you obviously thought you were retired, but you've obviously got an entrepreneur brain that you're like, no, I'm not. Right, I'm done. 5 months, not even, probably didn't make 5 weeks. No, you're like, right, we're going again.
It really was, yeah.
5 plates spinning, how many things
can
I get going?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
When you moved over to Strada, who opened your eyes to obviously building a brand and getting that creative side?
Gary mainly. So obviously there's 3 of us, yeah. You've got me, Che and Gary. So, and we're all very, very different. I'm very salesy. Gary's very marketing, and Che's phenomenal with organisation and operations. So building a brand was Gary. You know, he's gone.
And what have you learned from it? Because I feel like now you're probably one of the biggest brokers, if not the biggest brokers, for like knowledge of real estate agents and learning. Like, so many people say to me, you're so lucky learning from Gino. I've watched this on Gino. I honestly get it all the time. Like, oh my God, you get training from Gino. I see his TikToks all the time. What's Gino like? Is Gino's a big, like, I'm not going to say it anymore.
Carry on, please. Come on.
But, you know, people are always like, I feel like I know him, especially when I bump into agents. Like, I feel like I know him from his social media presence. And I think you've been able to build something that no other brokers that owns an agency has actually built yet, that other agents look up to you.
I think I was always one not to go on social media, right? So when we had Inspire, there was a couple of girls who had hundreds of thousands of followers, who were phenomenal in front of the camera, and I always used to make them go and do it. And I think I would actually fucking die if you made me go in front of the camera. When I came in the first or second day, Gary's like, you all right? I said, yeah. He goes, right, here you go. What the fuck are you doing? He goes, right, go in there and you're going to do cappuccinos. It's a coffee idea I've got. Put the coffee under the coffee machine, press the button.
Like, no, go away.
No. And I was absolutely shitting myself. I think we got the videos somewhere. And I think I got like 1,000 views. I was so buzzing. And they were all from me.
Ripley.
Yeah.
Ellie watched this.
Yeah, it was. I used to watch it on my own. She could hear the music. But what I realised, and obviously those boys built a brand prior to Strada for themselves, a personal brand. So they used to use social media as their lead generation tool. I was completely different. Mine was a network of people. Mm-hmm. But what I realised by working so closely with them is it's so powerful. And
it's huge.
Yeah, and I think then, not necessarily for lead generation, like exactly like you just said, right? Like, people feel they know you, or that you're credible, or they'll listen to what you say. So I don't sell so much anymore, but as an agent, if you're turning up and someone goes, I know you from somewhere, straight away you're credible.
Exactly. You've been able to do it in a twist, considering I remember when you first started socials.
Yeah, what's wrong with it? Huh?
I mean, it was better than me. I was like...
Retake, please, again.
I mean, I still post, I was like,
yeah.
What did she say?
This is our 7th podcast.
First one, it was like I had Tourette's. Like... But you've obviously been able to build a community, which I was actually speaking about you this morning, and we were saying you've actually been able to do something which a lot of people struggle. The fact that people can recognise Gino as one of Strada's directors, but also he is credible for an agent to be taught of, is really strong within this day and age of socials. So what have you learned in the sense of putting yourself out there and now having the credibility? Do you feel that more people come to Strada? Are you getting a better retention for having the business?
My whole thing when I did it, and I sat with Gary when I was sort of, I'm going to do this, what do you reckon? And we sort of built a plan and had a chat about it. And my thing was just to be real. I just want to be as real as possible. I'm not very good at trying to act or bullshit or stand there and hold a bag or a watch or whatever. I don't like all that, right? You know, it is what it is. And I feel that I have quite a strong sales background. Yeah. I was selling windows at 16, 17, knocking on doors, going selling windows around Luton, wherever else, shithole.
That's how you sell 2 windows and doors now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. It evolved. So I was taught by like hardcore salespeople, right? Like proper salespeople, the psychology of how you sell and how you get over it. So I feel like now a lot of people, especially coming into real estate, they're not taught that.
Not at all.
No.
Especially over here, you think people come over here, and I legit was speaking to someone last night who said, I'm going to be an agent. And he's never been to Dubai. He does not know Dubai. And he's like, yeah, I've seen these people make so much money. And I'm like, I have been in Dubai 4 years and I've done it 2 years and I got trained by the best.
Yeah.
And I was like, and even I still now struggle being like, it's so hard. Like, I don't think people understand. And I think there should be so much more awareness of like, you're coming over here, you don't know the community. It's a complete different sale, price per square foot. So that's why I think you've been able to build a community so well, because so many people miss that part. That
was the gap in the market. Looking, when we built the business, it was to say, first, before we talked about social media, it was what can we offer to the agents? Like, I'll offer what I know. And I sold, and again, I learned a lot from my old business partner that was, I'm not selling you this at $1 million because it's this. I'm selling you this at 1,200 a foot. Yeah. And this one is the same view, but it's smaller. So it's actually, this one's more value. You know, that's how you worked it out and to understand it, and then to understand why someone buys, build strategies and things like that. So I think that's what I initially wanted to offer to the agents. And then when I got a good reaction, I thought, right, I'll put it online now. It's real. And some people don't like it, but I don't care. But,
see ya.
And I'm getting, it's a good response.
It's a really good response. And do you not think Dubai's kind of going the way the American real estate agencies are going, which I think a lot of people aren't really seeing? Is only people that have probably been clued up to the market. You've seen the market a huge shift since 2018 to then 2021 pillar to now in the last 2 years, again, it's shifted majorly. And we are obviously expecting all these American, like credibility to come in. One person can sell a property. MLS, all this to come through.
But I think 100%. And I think the problem we have now, is that, like you said, the entry level is so low. Yeah. Anyone in this market looks and goes, everyone has got a mate who's earning money from real estate. It's like, oh, he did it, she did it. He worked here before and now he's doing this and that, whatever. And that's fine. But the ones that will survive anything that happen are the ones that actually understand real estate and understand investments and understand why people want to buy a house, right? So like most of the people doing this don't understand mortgage rates, why they drop. They don't understand anything.
Yeah. So they don't even understand like general economics, which is probably the biggest thing of Dubai sales.
Of course.
Because it's so immature market.
Exactly. So I think everyone is trying to do it. The skilled ones, going back to your point of why to build a brand. Yeah, like it's so important that, again, I was having a conversation with someone yesterday to say, like, when you turn up somewhere and they recognise you as someone who has sold X amount in this area or whatever, they're going to want to work with you. If whenever we recruit anyone, I always say I don't actually care what you build, right? I don't care. I can teach that. I'm sat thinking, would I give you my house to sell? Yeah. Would I buy from you? You know, would I interact with you? Would I invest with you? Because that's what. And if it's yes, then sweet. Everything else we can teach. And then you have that foundation with the training and the structure that we'll give. You're unstoppable. And
I think Strada's been able to position itself in the market as a marketing agency rather than a brokerage. And you guys are given the tools, so you're probably going to be able to pull the best agents through those key pillars that you're providing. And do you not think in this market, when you see agents running from this agency to the next agency to the next agency, you kind of look at them and be like, is it you or the agency at this point? Like, have you not got the motivation and given up and you're not determined enough? Or are these agencies just not providing the tools?
I think, again, two things. Firstly, the agents I see, I've sat with so many people that are really good, really credible, and they go, I want 80% flat. Oh, sweet, go and speak to one of them agencies that does that then. That's fine, because I don't want someone that wants that. I want someone to come in and want to wear the Strada hat, want to be proud to join the run club, want to be proud to get their listing up, set Strada Studios out there, that they're proud to be part of the brand. And that's so important. If someone's running around, either they can't compete in the company they're in, or they're running around for commissions and sign-on bonuses and also the bull. Like that's fine. Do your thing. We don't want you. You're not for us.
Of course. And what do you think about the whole commission structure in Dubai? What do you think now? Obviously, you've done it, you've smashed it, you don't give a if you're on commission only. But what do you think now, or what would they advise you to give to someone that's come to Dubai after getting paid to be like, right, that's it, zero. start from scratch?
What my advice would be to someone else? I'd say do it all day long.
Really?
Yeah, of course, because like you're in charge of like the money that's there to be made. Sometimes I think about it, like someone does a deal and makes £100,000 a deal. I think, like, imagine being in the UK and telling someone. I used to go back and see my friends sit in the pub and have a beer and say, and only to them we talk, how's the bar? I say, made whatever, 50 grand this month. They go, you're a liar. Well, I'm not lying to you. Do you know, whatever it was that and they all say to me now, like, we honestly thought you were lying. I'm like, because it's not real in your head. So it's the opportunity. Monopoly money. Yeah, the opportunity is so much. It's so high here. Like, why would you not do it?
And do you know what? I think you teach everyone at Strada such a strong point that's don't spend all your commission as it comes. Like, give yourself a salary. Genuinely. But I think it's the biggest bit of advice, because I meet other people and I've seen other people in the 4 years I've been here that were the king and now they've got fuck all.
Yeah.
And it's so quick turnaround that although everyone's like, oh, I got that big check. It's like going back to what we said at the start. They chase that one deal and then like, right, I'm sorted, I'm in.
I think, people, especially if they do a deal quickly, right? Like they think that they make a large amount of money and then they're like, right, that's coming in every month. And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But if you're clever with it, I always say this, in the pit of my stomach, I always look and go, in 30 years' time, I will not be one of those people. You know that you meet these old people that go, I was part of the .com boom. I go, you're driving a Fiesta or whatever, like, how'd you make that much money? And now you're not there's anything wrong with the Fiesta, but you made millions and you didn't invest it correctly. You had, you're spending a lot of money. And so, I always look and think, I will not be one of those people, and I will not let anyone that works with me be one of those people. I want everyone to grow.
And tell me, and it's something I'm really interested in, how much money do you think a person which is in real estate...
You're going to ask me something else.
No, how much money do you think that a person in real estate or a person that's going into real estate should start like spending when it comes to like the marketing tools to market themselves, the market... Like, do you know how if, say you get paid 30k and you then split it? Because in America, you would get a listing, go, right, I'm going to get this commission, but X is to... I don't know, the marketing, X is to, do you know what I mean?
I think you've got to look at it as a business, right? So you've got to run it as a P&L. When I was a broker initially, I was the first year after the 6 months, right? So like the first year and a half, I started to make good money. I started to broker deals and whatever. And so I'd have whatever, 100,000 dirham come in, I'd spend that, 200,000, 50,000, whatever it was. And I'd just acquire like just whatever I could. And because I had never been able to do that, right? Go ahead, I've got the his designer's clothes, but you just think like because you can, right? And you've always especially when you've been skint for that long, that you go in and go, I can go in and buy whatever I thought I wanted to buy. I think you got to run it as a P&L. So what my point was it just then is I did a year of blowing money, spending on rubbish, right? Then it was actually my wife sat me down and was like, right, if you're going to do this, you're going to be a business. Even though it is a business, you have to be a business. So you're going to have petrol, food, marketing, whatever that is as a cost. So how much do you need for us? Mm-hmm. This. It's always us as well. Yeah, so, of course.
Some wisdom there.
So it's how much do we need for us? Okay, then how much do we need for this? So you can work it out, and it's relative, right? If you're making 100k a month, you can spend more. If you're making 10, you have to spend less. Yeah. But you've got to divide it up and then work the return out as well. So you've actually got, I would be setting goals now. If I was a broker now, I would be saying, right, this is how much I want to earn. This is the lifestyle I want to live. And this is how I'm going to get there, because it's speculating to accumulate. Like
100%. And how much of a risk do you like personally, like when you were... I know you love a risk. But obviously, as I said, like I want to know is like people that come to Dubai, I don't think they realise how much people put on the line in Dubai to get these crazy results. Because people just think, I'll invest 1,000 dirhams and go to one conference and I'm going to be sick. They don't realise that people are spending tens of thousands a year to go to these conferences to meet the right people.
It's not even it's conferences.
It's everything between.
Everything, right? So I bought a Range Rover Sport. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I put which in the UK you're always taught, aren't you? Like a car is a liability, it's not an asset. Whereas here, I actually think it's the reverse.
100%.
So I put every penny I had, it was in that sort of first 18 months, into this stupid Range Rover Sport, right? And it was whatever it was, top of the range, blah, blah, blah. But the reason I did it was because I thought, I'm going to turn up and pick a client up, and they're instantly going to think, if I'm in a rental car, they're going to judge me. I might be a multi-millionaire, but if I'm in a rental car, instantly they're going to judge me. So, and I actually closed deals off the back of the Range Rover, because they're getting to go, this is nice, yeah. And they don't know I've got zero in my bank. They got no fuel in. Can you run a little bit, please, mate? But so it was it was so important. I joined Demar Golf Estates as I love golf, obviously, as you know. Joined the golf club, and again, it absolutely skinned me. But my idea was, if someone can pay X amount for this membership, then they're going to have a certain level of wealth. If I can get in with those people and then start to get to know them, it wasn't to get in and try to sell everyone a house. It was to go and meet different people and then become the property guy in that area. Not for those villas, right? But just so that everyone, you're having a beer or whatever, they go, speak to him, he needs to buy a house. And that worked. And then I said, right, okay, so the membership was 30,000 dirham. Okay, so I need to sell one house, that will cover my membership. Everything else is profit. So you speculate to accumulate. So that's exactly how I worked it out.
And do you not think as well that you've obviously been able to do all this risk in the past, and have you shit yourself sometimes, been like, fuck?
Yes,
I
all
fucked
the time.
it.
Yeah, loads of times. Yeah, not physically. But yeah, loads of times. Yeah, there's loads. About a year ago, I bought a villa and I was trying to flip it, and I was a bit out of my depth, and it all went a little bit wrong. I was like losing sleep at night. I was waking up, and but that's part of learning. Like,
it's part of being in Dubai, though.
Yeah, exactly, and it's part of taking those risks. I'm willing to take the risk, and because you get the reward from it. When I was a broker, there was, the risk was coming out here, right? I was fortunate enough. I met really, really good people and managed to build a relationship and then advise on their deals and still have those relationships today. So I tried to do it a little bit differently. But in terms of the buying and selling, with anything, right? Setting up Strada was a risk.
I mean, I think it's the best thing. And the last thing I want to know is, do you have a core why that like fuels every single thing that you've done? Yeah,
there's a feeling, the boys will laugh at this, there's a feeling I have, I always talk about it, where we used to live in JBR, we moved from the Point to JBR, was loads of people in there, and downstairs there's a Viva, is it Viva with the red sign, yeah? So there used to be a Viva downstairs, we go and do our shopping, and the feeling, I used to, obviously I'm Italian, so with my mum before I left taught us how to cook like 5 different meals that cost like £2. Right? So
sick.
If you're going to go skin, this is how you can survive. Okay, fine, one of them was pasta sauce. So you buy the tin tomatoes and everything else, and I used to weigh up the tin tomatoes because that skin, and look what weighed heavier and was cheaper that I could find and then buy it out. And that feeling, we laugh about it now, that feeling keeps me going. Like, that feeling drives me every single day. There's family, there's this, that, but there's also to have that purpose and give back now. There's 2 things. The feeling of being that skin, and I always say to everyone, we'll never, ever, ever, we'll never be in that position ever again, ever. Yeah. But also, now that we've built a really cool brand, we're growing, we've got amazing people that work with us, like we're lucky enough to have this. Now it's about giving back and growing other people, making them really successful as well.
And I think you can see in everything you do, because everyone that meets you, whether it be social, whether it be in person, you're always trying to help them in every single way. And it is going back to people in Dubai, like what you're saying, weighing out tomatoes, every successful person has been there. Yeah. And every single person has to see, like, they've either fucked it, they're going to prison, they don't know where they're sleeping.
I haven't been to prison, just for the record.
But do you know what I mean? They have to be like, I don't know what's happening, to then have the hunger to want to always be adverse to that risk now, that you've probably got a taste and an addiction for the dopamine to be like, how far can I fucking push it without dying? Like, how much can I go?
Yeah, definitely. Not jail, not pushing the ball, but yeah, definitely, of course, right? It's now breaking the boundaries of things that people say, you can't do. Well, why can't I do it? Obviously, like robbing a bank and things we can't do. But like growing the firm, becoming the best real estate brand in the city, in the Middle East, in the world, 100%, like 100%. And you have to dream big. And people always say, "No, don't do it," but why not, right? So yeah, 100%. Definitely, it was breaking barriers.
And I think that's the best thing about Strada. Everyone in Strada's got a very similar mindset, and everyone bounces off each other because we're all a bit fucking crazy. Everyone's tapped. Like, Jesus Christ. But it is like we all bounce off each other. There's all that crazy energy that's like, I want to be the best. I want to be the better. Like, I can't think of anyone in that room that I can go to and be like, right, how do we get it? Or like, do you want to do this crazy idea with me? Whether it be, I don't know how I'm going to pay dinner the next day, but I think this will make me X amount. And I think that's the good thing about building the company and the way you guys have done it and building a brand, that you're attracting these people that are like-minded, and it's not just people, it's like, I want that 5k basic to cover me for the next 3 months.
We don't want those people. Like, there's a place for those people, and good luck to them, but we don't want those people. We're an elite brokerage. We want elite people. We're built on, we want, which we've got, the reverse. We don't, 80-20 is the normal rule, right? Like 20% of your people deliver 80% of your revenue. We're actually 80% of the business bill a month, whatever the figure is. So, you know, we're the reverse. We want everyone billing, and we want everyone to be rubbing shoulders with elite people, so that you don't get that negativity. Everyone's a winner. Everyone wants to do better.
It's amazing. Finishing off, if you were to give advice to like your younger self, what would it be?
Work harder. I say this on every single podcast, because I used to sit in a coffee shop back home with a couple of my mates and put the world to rights and say, how we're going to make this and we're going to do this, and this whole coffee shop actually it wasn't a shithole coffee shop, it was a lovely coffee shop, it was a shithole area, but we'd sit there and I didn't really believe it. You know, I talked it and I said it and I wanted this car and I want to do this and I want to do that, but I actually didn't believe it was going to happen. Whereas, and I didn't work hard enough. I used to party, I used to go out and do whatever I was doing. Whereas now, and what I'd say to any of the brokers in a firm, my kids, is that if you can believe it, if you see it in your head, you can do it. 100%.
So I have to tap into it. How did you learn how to get that mental blockage away? Because it's such a particular thing, especially moving to a place like Dubai. You can get these blockers, you can get these, like, you don't believe in yourself, and you kind of have like what happened to you when I had that mental breakdown. I don't know.
That's exactly what it was like. It just went on longer. I'll never do that again. I think it's the belief in yourself, right? One thing I learned now is I back myself every day of the week. You drop me in the middle of the desert, the ocean, I'll make money. I know what I'm doing, and I know I back myself anywhere in the world. And I think Dubai does that to you. You build a confidence. You're around people that you'd never be around. You know, whether it's clients, colleagues, whatever, and you learn so much. You grow so much as a person, and you become so strong. You're mentally strong, even when you have your shit days, right? We've all had bad days, and you know, but it's about, right, go to sleep, let's get up the next day, let's go again, you know, and let's carry on going.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was great having you. It was a good chat.